Do you realize how a bad conversation starter can turn things sour? In this video, we're revealing the top 10 worst ways to begin a conversation. Surprisingly, a survey shows 71% of people remember unpleasant conversations for longer, and 65% of people have experienced discomfort due to inappropriate conversation openers. This can lead to lasting negative impressions. Understanding these pitfalls is crucial for your social success. By the end of this video, you will know exactly what to avoid in your next chat. Let's start. 10. No offense or anything. Saying no offense, but right at the start, it is like waving a red flag before the conversation even begins. It clearly signals that what follows might not be all sunshine and rainbows. Starting with no offense or anything immediately puts the listener on edge. It's like saying, brace yourself, I'm about to say something offensive. This defensive strike often sets a negative tone and can overshadow any positive aspects of the conversation. Instead of fostering open communication, it primes the listener for defensiveness. From the listener's perspective, hearing this phrase might evoke a sense of caution and wariness. They might start preparing for a verbal blow, wondering why a disclaimer is necessary in the first place. 9. We should talk. Picture this. You meet someone new, and the first words out of their mouth are, we should talk. It's like a cloud of uncertainty hanging over the interaction, leaving you wondering what's about to unfold. Plus, the phrase can literally send shivers down spines. We should talk is often perceived as a conversation opener, loaded with tension and uncertainty. It lacks clarity and can trigger anxiety, as the listener is left in the dark about the topic or the direction of the conversation. It's like handing someone a mysterious box without any hints about what's inside. It immediately raises anxiety levels and makes people wonder what they've done wrong. Now, I get it, sometimes there are important things to discuss, but understand the fact that there's a time and a place for everything. A more considerate approach might be to find a suitable setting and frame the conversation in a way that doesn't sound like impending doom. 8. Don't get me wrong, but don't get me wrong unfolds like a reverse psychology puzzle. It's a phrase that, instead of ensuring understanding, adds a touch of uncertainty. Similar to saying don't look now and causing an immediate glance, this phrase signals there's something in the conversation that could be taken the wrong way. See, when someone prefaces their statement with this phrase, it's almost like they're bracing themselves for impact, and it rarely leads to anything positive. It's like they're trying to soften the blow before they've even delivered it, which often ends up making things even worse. So, instead of diving into reverse psychology, try opening with, I want to share my thoughts openly, or let's discuss this with clarity and understanding. By choosing words that foster an atmosphere of openness, you can steer the conversation away from potential misinterpretations. 7. I hate to be the one to tell you this. You know, there's this unwritten rule of conversation etiquette that some people seem to miss entirely. Picture this. You're just minding your own business, perhaps sipping your morning coffee, when someone taps you on the shoulder and says, I hate to be the one to tell you this. It's like standing on a cliff edge, which you can't help but brace yourself for. It's basically a verbal cue that unpleasant news or a difficult conversation is about to unfold. The phrase acts as an indication of discomfort, making the listener apprehensive about what follows. Hearing, I hate to be the one to tell you this, can trigger a sense of foreboding. So if you have to deliver sad news or criticism, choose a more empathetic and considerate approach. Instead of leading with, I hate to be the one to tell you this, try framing it positively. For example, there's something important we need to discuss, or I want to share some information with you. This way, you can maintain a more constructive atmosphere for the conversation. 6. You look beautiful today. Ever received a compliment that left you wondering if it was genuine or came with a hidden agenda? Starting a conversation with a cheesy compliment like, you look beautiful today, might seem like a harmless icebreaker, but it often falls flat. You see, when you begin a conversation with a heavy dose of flattery, it can often feel insincere or even creepy. It puts the other person in a slightly awkward spot, wondering what your real intentions are. But wait, that's not the only thing wrong with this conversation starter. The problem, even worse, is its perceived perception. While the intention might be positive, commenting on someone's appearance can sometimes create discomfort. The focus on physical attributes, especially when unexpected, can make the recipient feel scrutinized or objectified, which is even worse. So, if you have to, opt for compliments that are more inclusive or focused on accomplishments. For instance, "Your energy is contagious today," or "I appreciate the effort you put into your work." This way, you express admiration without potentially making the other person uncomfortable. 5. Why are you so quiet? Imagine being in a group and someone pipes up with, "Why are you so quiet?" It might just be the conversation starter that leads to irritation. Initiating a conversation with, "Why are you so quiet?" can be a potential landmine, especially when directed at introverts or shy individuals. Every individual has a different communication style, and some people just prefer listening and observing before jumping into the conversation. Maybe they're introverted, or perhaps they're processing thoughts internally before sharing them. But when you openly ask why they're quiet, it might trigger frustration or annoyance, particularly for introverts. It draws attention to their reserved nature in a way that may be perceived as judgmental or dismissive. Instead of drawing attention to their silence, try sparking a conversation with a lighter, more positive opener. Asking about their interests or sharing a funny anecdote can help create a more welcoming atmosphere. Remember, conversation should flow naturally, not be forced or uncomfortable. 4. You're too sensitive. Starting a conversation on a sour note can set the tone for an awkward exchange. One of the worst ways to kick off a chat is by telling someone, "You're too sensitive." It's like slapping a crybaby sticker on their forehead before you even know them. First off, labeling someone as sensitive shuts down any chance of open dialogue. It suggests that the person's emotional reactions are excessive or unwarranted, potentially leading to feelings of insecurity or frustration. People have different thresholds for what they find offensive or upsetting, and dismissing their feelings or gaslighting them can make them feel invalidated. Plus, it's kind of presumptuous. Shift the focus from perceived sensitivity to open communication. Consider saying, "I want to understand how you're feeling." It makes them feel less judged and more comfortable. 3. I need your help with something. Starting a conversation with, "I need your help with something," can sometimes come off as a bit abrupt or self-serving, if not handled delicately. Imagine receiving a message out of the blue that just dives straight into a request without any context or preamble. It can feel a bit jarring, right? It's like walking up to someone you barely know and immediately asking them for a big favor without even saying hello first. It doesn't exactly set the stage for a warm and friendly interaction. Now, don't get it wrong. Asking for help is totally okay and often necessary, but the key is in how you frame it. Adding a bit of context or personal touch can go a long way in making the other person feel valued and more willing to assist. 2. We can be honest with each other, right? We often kick off conversations with, "We can be honest with each other, right?" It's like our verbal handshake for diving into the real stuff. But let's face it, sometimes those well-meaning words can set off a few alarm bells, instead of opening up a candid exchange. When someone starts with, "Can I be brutally honest?" it's like they're gearing up for a verbal showdown. Studies show that communication is more effective when it's framed positively, even in moments of honesty. So starting off with a negative tone can actually hinder the conversation's progress. But here's the thing, honesty is crucial, but so is how we dish it out. Instead of priming the conversation with potentially negative vibes, why not start with something affirming? Like, "I really value our honesty and I want to share something openly." 1. Promise me you won't get mad. Starting a conversation on the wrong foot can be a tricky business, and saying, "Promise me that you won't get mad," might just be a one-way ticket to an awkward encounter. It's like announcing you're about to step on a landmine and expecting the other person not to react. Instead of setting a comfortable tone, this phrase immediately raises suspicion and anxiety. Imagine starting a chat with a colleague by saying, "Promise me that you won't get mad, but I accidentally spilled coffee on your desk." Not only does it make the situation sound worse than it is, but it puts the other person in an uneasy position right from the start. Asking someone not to get mad implies that there's something potentially infuriating coming their way, which isn't the ideal way to initiate a conversation. It's more effective to be open and direct about the topic at hand. If you have made it this far, comment down below with the word 100% to confirm that you have received the knowledge from this video. For more interesting topics, make sure you watch the recommended video that you see on the screen right now. Thanks for watching.